Thank you. I'm feeling a little bit nervous, so I'm not going to wing it. I am going to read. So what I'm planning to do tonight is firstly give you a brief overview of the collaborative group Blood on Silk. I'm one of the 3 members, and while I'm doing that you'll see slides of 5 works that I've done over the last year, 2013, and then in the second half I'll be looking at a specific area of interest that's developed from that collaboration and how that's going to be shown in a work in Cementa in 2015. So the process started while my father died in 2001 after being in hospital for a total of 11 and a half months, and 4.5 of those months were in intensive care. Now, intensive care is a seriously weird place, and yet over that period of time you can domesticate it, and the daily rituals, which are stuff like the taking of blood samples and chest x-rays, become normal and everyday. There's also at least 2 occasions when my father received massive transfusions of donated blood and blood products. In one case, I think I was told that he had received 23 units of blood, which he then bled out into his stomach cavity. After Dad died, I did a series of installations in places that were important to how he had defined himself. He and Mum both grew up in Aberdeen in the Hunter Valley, so the first installation was there in the Anglican Church. The second in the series was in the foyer of the School of Physics at the University of Sydney, and the last at a college in Oxford. While I was developing the work for the small museum in the foyer of the School of Physics, I was introduced to a physicist who was undertaking an ARC research project where he was seeking to replace the need to take blood samples and then test them externally by the use of a dissolvable, disposable microchip made of silk. The idea was that the chip would be placed into your bloodstream, allowing your blood results to be read while your blood was still within your body. The physicist Peter Domachuk, a writer Leanne Hall, and myself formed a collaboration or a collaborative group. It was a collaboration of ideas. We didn't make things together, but we talked about a whole range of issues using as a strike point the seemingly unrelated pairing of blood and silk. We explored a range of scientific, cultural, economic, technological and aesthetic intersections and exchanges. They included a whole range of things, from the materiality of silk and blood and the materiality of the refined silk fibrion, which is perfectly transparent. And one of the big things that we talked about a lot was the cultural history of the silk routes and how they correspond with the new trading routes for both legal and illegal bioproducts such as blood, organs and people. This map shows the pathway of an event. Did you notice that fantastic timing then? Thank you. The spread of cholera in 1832. It also coincides with part of the historic trade in silk and parts of the contemporary trade in bioproducts. I've started thinking more about the multitude of ways the market operates for a person who is operating as a producer and selling bits of themselves. The following slides list a whole number of real and virtual things that may be able to be sold. Once you take out the celebrity aspect of self-sale, there are many similarities with the way the market for agricultural products operate. In particular, there is a critical distinction between being a price taker and a price maker. Price takers are defined as those whose market activities have limited impact on the market. Their sales are so small it's hard to notice whether they're in or out of the market. It can also apply on a smaller scale to a large player that's in an overcrowded market. In Australia, the reaction of many agricultural producers to the lack of control inherent in being a price taker was to organise. Interestingly, that's so that they can get be able to negotiate for higher prices for their produce. Interestingly, this doesn't seem to have happened at all with the people who produce and sell their own blood or blood products, or even in the area of fertility for sale. These players may have more power, but they're still largely price takers. In many countries, only blood that's donated goes into the transfusion market. Blood products, however, such as plasma, openly operate in a different manner. Since the GFC, there's been a rise in websites suggesting the selling of plasma as a way of bringing extra money into a household. One site from the US suggested it could be up to $220 a month per person. One of the websites I've looked at, which is sort of like a list of good tips for the ways to get fast cash. Number 3 is Give Blood, where some plasma banks pay up to $35 per pint. An individual may donate 2 times in a 7-day period with a minimum of 2 days between donations. These ideas have been developing against a major shift in the collaborative group. Peter Domachuk, who's the physicist, died suddenly last year at the age of 33, and it's taken me a while to get used to that idea. And it's only recently that I've approached a research group in Tufts at Boston. They also work with silk as a biomedical material, and I've been invited to go there and work in the lab next year. That's a photograph of Peter. And I'm looking forward to developing the work Blood on Silk, Price Taker, Price Maker for Cementa in 2015 in the regional town of Kandos and locating it squarely within the local understandings of the way the markets work. Thank you.